This is John Paul Wright. I'm coming from Tokyo, Japan. I got a bunch of notes here on Ivan Ortega's re-edit, which I just saw. My internet connection where I am is real flimsy, so I was kind of chugging through. I skipped Canto Bight. I had a little bit of, how can you say, kind of choppiness, so I might not have picked up every little detail, and I haven't seen The Last Jedi since the theaters, so I can't remember every little change that occurred, but of course, I remember the big things. First of all, I want to get out there two really important things that if you haven't seen this thing, you might have been worried about, which I was a little concerned about, and it's the voice acting that replaces Mark Hamill and Akbar, and of course not Mark Hamill in every scene, but he had to add some dialogue to make some scenes make sense. Akbar especially works because we don't do Akbar talk much anyway, so it doesn't matter. Akbar, from what I recall from the original trilogy, only has a couple of lines. He doesn't even connect too many sentences. Like, you probably couldn't write out a paragraph of what Akbar says in the original trilogy. Maybe. But you guys know what I mean. He doesn't have that many lines in the first place. I found that to be fine. And the guy who replaced Mark Hamill's voice, I think did a good enough job where when it came up, you weren't totally like, oh, that sounds different. Oh, this doesn't work. It was good enough where it fit in to tell the story and what Ivan wanted to tell. So I think those two things worked pretty good. Good enough. So one thing I want to get into that's like really important that I gotta get out of the way is the best thing added to me was Luke actually has the third lesson. There's a deleted scene where Luke tricks Rey into running into the bandit camp that's a party and not being raided and destroyed, but he just kind of laughs and that's it, and they have their little fallout or their little normal discussion about how Luke's not going to join the fight and this and that. But Ivan turned this into the lesson where Luke says, pretty perfectly, pretty on key, this is the lesson to teach you not to give in to your anger. You know, kind of think before you shoot kind of thing. And he also said this is what ruined Ben. It made perfect sense, it's a great addition, and I don't think there's any arguing that the original deleted scene or the original intention was better. It's just much better that way. Yeah, I'm saying it. It's much better that way. Ivan also cut out some other little annoying things. Well, not little annoying things, but things that were actually very annoying, but he made them into kind of little scenes. For example, instead of Rose saving Finn, which was pretty much batshit retarded for me, let's not get into why and the physics right now, but he just has a First Order soldier shoot Finn down, which makes sense. He shoots Finn down from kamikazing into the rammer, and that's great. Way better than Rose just going off the hook and saving Finn. It's silly. Doesn't work. Great change. He has a couple of plot changes involving Akbar in the beginning and Akbar throughout. That works much better than Holdo. We see some original Holdo footage and it's cringy. And by the way, guys, you know, it's just like, just watching this movie again, although it is Ivan's cut, it's still The Last Jedi. So I still have like this icky feeling. So, alright. When Luke meets Rey for the first time, Chewie's in the scene with Rey. That makes sense, because Chewie's in the original cut, from what I remember, just kind of in the ship, like 85% of the time, 90% of the time. So that would make sense. Chewie should be there. Chewie doesn't say anything, he doesn't roar or whatever, but at least he's there. At least he's there with Rey. Also, there was a lot more Kylo and Rey dialogue just throughout the island scene. It just made more sense. It gave their relationship a little more weight in the movie. It wasn't just like here and there. It seemed like there was a considerable amount of time spent on the editing and kind of rearranging that dialogue. That was definitely a great point. And I don't have too many bad points about this thing. I skipped Canto Bight, because like I said, my internet connection was really bad, and I didn't see Canto Bight in the theater because I had to take a piss, and my friend told me don't see it, so I skipped it there. But I've seen clips of it online, but I'm going to trust everyone. I probably wouldn't like it if I sat through the whole thing, so yeah. There's also one really nice key point where he adds Luke having this mind connection with Leia when Leia is unconscious, and, you know, that works. That's a nice little add-in that was missing. Also, he cut down the boulder scene. You don't see Rey, you see Rey moving the boulders out of the way of the door, but you don't see them all in the air, like hundreds of them or whatever amount there is. He just has Rey move the necessary amount to get them out of the hole. Okay, that sounds a little phallic. Okay, anyway, he also has the Rose Zapper scene cut down. It has to be there because Finn is like kind of laying down and kind of immobilized after that, so he couldn't cut it out completely, but it's a little better, just quick, and it's a retarded scene in the first place. I hate that scene. Off track for a second, I could see why recently John Boyega said he's going to be honest about the Rise of Skywalker and his part in The Last Jedi, because retarded things like that really, really don't make sense. They really belittle Finn. I guess not quite John Boyega as an actor himself, but that's just seeing that again just made me cringe. I'm pretty sure throughout the entire thing he added music when he felt it was appropriate, where he felt it was better. Like I said, it's been a very long time since I've seen The Last Jedi, but I'm pretty sure when Luke walks in the Falcon, Ivan added some original Star Wars music, some feeling to that. I think I remember when he walked in there, it was pretty bland. I can't quite remember, but my point is, he definitely added music in places where it added some emotion and made it feel a little bit more like a Star Wars movie. Also, he used the green lightsaber, of course, in the fight with Kylo. I have kind of mixed feelings on this change. I mean, I could see him using the blue one, I'm totally fine with it. It's his father's lightsaber, it's the one he threw away, which is stupid in the first place, and right, that was a good change. But okay, he throws away the blue lightsaber, so it kind of makes a statement that he comes back using it, which did make sense. I've listened to some arguments on the other side, and while I reject about 80% of them, there are a couple of points, so whatever. I'm kind of neutral on that. It's still kind of cool to see Luke use the green lightsaber. So yeah, I mean, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, a little over 2 hours or something, so I usually don't make 20-minute, 15-minute huge videos. I just wanted to go over some key points. I'm going to link this thing below. It is actually on BitChute. I want to say one last thing that Ivan actually had at the end of the movie, which I really got a kick out of, and in the credits it said, I think one of the first or second credits, it said, written and directed by people who actually love Star Wars. So yeah, I think so. That's a key point to take home for any guys listening on any side, guys, gals, you know what I mean. The Last Jedi was not made by people who love Star Wars, quote unquote. It was made by people who want to make a movie and a statement, and yeah, I think that's accurate on Ivan's part. I'm going to link everything below, Ivan's channel, all that. He's on like 300 subscribers on BitChute. Yeah, I've just watched The Last Jedi again for the first time, and although it was Ivan's cut, it still was The Last Jedi for the most part, so just kind of getting over it a little bit. If you agree with what I said, if you like Star Wars, entertainment, Marvel, if you don't like Brie Larson, consider subscribing here, especially if you're still watching up to this point. People don't watch full videos these days. Notifications bell, I'm doing shoutouts, special thanks, things like that. Talk too much, see you next time.